Hello Fusioners, this is your program Xperiencias. My name is Lina Orellana and I have a spectacular guest today. Randy Gage is with me and we're going to talk to him about how he recently joins Fusion and about his experiences, a little bit about his life, some details, so I'm sure you are going to enjoy this program. Welcome Randy.
Hey, it's great to be here with you.
I'm so happy to have you here. Well, we have been friends for 2 years, but now you are a Fusioner. So this is incredible, we are super happy. So tell me, what brings you to Fusion?
I never thought I would be here. I was, as you know, in another business. I said that was going to be my last rodeo. 10 years ago I joined that and I expected that I would never go anywhere else. That company got bought by a different ownership group. I just wasn't comfortable with the direction that they were going. And I couldn't any longer get on a stage or get on a call and represent that company. And much as I love the founders, the two families who put it together, the products, all of that, I loved all that. But I just couldn't sign off on the new ownership group, where they were going to take the company, the direction they're going. And I said, I've got to move on. And so as the universe works, when one door closes, another door opens. And that door is Fusion.
I'm happy to hear that. We are thrilled to hear that. And how did you make the decision? I mean, you were looking for a new home and I'm sure you have a lot of options. How did you make it?
Well, here's the behind the scenes that nobody knows.
That's
till
what
now.
I want to know. That's what I want to know.
You got an exclusive scoop. You know, I've been smart with my money. I don't need to work. So I looked at, when I realized I was going to leave the other thing, my first inclination was maybe I just walk into the sunset. I don't need to do this. I don't need the bonus check. But I was having conversations with Anna David Feinstein and Billy Looper, who are some of my dearest friends, and they were dear colleagues of mine in the business. And they were saying, what do we do? Because they were feeling similar kind of feelings as I was, the direction.
Sure.
And I said, hey, guys, you know, I think I might just walk in the sunset. And Ann was like, Randy, I will hunt you down and kill you if you don't do something. And Billy was like, you better find, you know, you got us into this. You don't just walk off into the sunset. And so we said, well, and I said, well, if I'm not going to walk off in the sunset, man, I got to find something that I'll be excited about.
Absolutely.
It's got to be something that makes me get lit up. And that's where Fusion came into play, because if you look at what Billy did, if you look at what Ann and David did, if you look at what a lot of my colleagues who are now with us here in Fusion, a lot of us walked away from very large parts of our organization because Fusion doesn't do business in those parts of the world. So we knew we would be walking away from bigger incomes.
Sure.
But at that point, after what I had just been through, my whole thing was, it's got to be about the character of the founders, the owners, the people who drive the operation. Absolutely. Because I won't even look at a comp plan first. I won't even look at a product line first. I wouldn't look at what markets you're opening first. The first thing I want to know is, are these good people?
Absolutely, that's the heart.
Yeah, because of what we were running away from, that was the most important thing to us. And then we could say, and then of course, if we look at the product line, we say, wow, these are amazing. This is an extraordinary product line. You look at the compensation plan, it's very lucrative. It's very rewarding. It produces the right behavior. And then we looked and said, wow, well, it's only in 12 countries. Well, 12 is a lot of countries. But compared to where we used to be, that's not a lot of countries. But then we looked at that and said, imagine being able to take this around the world and for us to be able to launch the United States. Mexico is open, but it's not really doing much so far with Fusion. It's a number of Chile and some of the other Latin American markets are still, even Peru, which is huge with Fusion, Ecuador, which is huge with Fusion, they're a tiny percentage of what their potential is.
Absolutely. The potential is huge.
Yeah, so we looked at that and said, hey, imagine the opportunity to take this to Europe, to take this to Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, all of those things over the next 10 years, 15 years. And that was really exciting. That was really exciting.
I heard that you have brought some of your friends with you, and you mentioned some. So tell me about your team. Tell me about the people that is coming with you.
They are some of the most extraordinary leaders that you will ever find in this profession. And what excites me about them, and I'm looking at some of them as we're filming this, they're actually in the studio here. And David had experience in the profession. Like me, we had met almost 25, 30 years ago.
Wow.
So they're professionals, they know this. But I look at the other ones, and the exciting thing about it is, I'm like, wow, they were dance instructors, he was a consultant, he was a computer engineer, she was this, he was that. None of them had network marketing experience. What they had was a dream, dedication, commitment to their team, willing to do the work. Passion.
I have seen that.
That's what excites me, because that's the stuff you can't teach. That's the stuff you can't buy. That's the stuff it's either there or it's not. So we're really excited about a couple of things. One, because we're joining. The first thing that Fusion asked me is, okay, so where do we place you? Do we put you are you at the top of a line somewhere? Do we give you some special deal? What would you want to come here? And what I said was, no, I want you to put me at the bottom of the longest line you can find. Get me in a line under leaders. I knew Luca and Lily. I knew Edison because, of course, I've been consulting with the company. I always trained at the Cena de Gala and the Alumbra and some of those events. And so I said, I would put us at the bottom of one of their legs so we have the benefit of their leadership so they can help support the team. So what's real exciting is I've got this amazing leadership team, which are people who've come to the same conclusion I did, that, hey, that last rodeo was not the one they thought it was. And then we've joined with this existing leadership team with Fusion, and we're gonna rock the world.
I know that.
We're gonna create history with this right here, right now.
I know that. And I also know that the company is prepared to be your partner in crime to rock the world. So I'm sure we are going to do this great. How are you feeling? How are they feeling about starting up,
Well, there's this mixed thing. I think all of us have talked about this at some point. There was this sadness because we loved the people in the last thing we did, but they fired the president and the co-founder, and so he was gone, and there was a foundation, and we used to have these tabs. We would every time you took a product, you put this tab because it would go as a penny toward this foundation. Mm-hmm. And then one day I was taking those and I realized there's no foundation anymore. I'm not saving these tabs for anything. And that was like a really sad thing.
I understand.
And every one of my guys or gals has said something similar, like, well, it's kind of bittersweet, but it is that thing that when one door closes, another opens, and we feel like this is our destiny. We got really good. We became really experienced. We set a lot of history with that last go around. We did some amazing things, and all of that prepared us for now, for this moment, with this company, with this product line, and this extraordinary international expansion ahead of us.
That sounds great. Well, I know that you are in Lima, Peru, and you have been here for a couple of days. Why?
Yeah, we're actually here strategizing how we're going to take over the world.
Okay.
That's what we're doing here. I mean, we're just looking at the system, and we recorded. As you see, we're in the studio. We've recorded a lot of extra footage for the next recruiting audios. We're putting together the system, kind of looking at what Luca is doing here, what is Edison doing here, what are we doing in the United States, what are Alberto and Daphne and Jaime going to do in down in Argentina when that opens, what are they doing in Mexico, what are Shai and Billy and I and the guys in the US going to do with the Feinsteins, and how can we get the whole system so that really everybody in the team can know we're following the same system, and so Luca could come to an event and he's pretty much teaching the same system which we're doing, and I can go to Mexico or Argentina and work with one of the guys, and it'll be the same system they're doing there. Billy can go, Ann and David have a new person down in Ecuador, I think, so they could go there and know that we're doing pretty much the same system.
Great, and you have accomplished that?
We're not done with it, and we probably won't be done with it for a year, because...
Why is that?
Because you don't just create something and say, here's the system. Our job as leaders is to create things and then test them and actually be in the living rooms, be in the dens, make the presentations. We were doing this footage for the recruiting thing, and Yafa made this statement about the products, and as soon as she stopped, I paused and I said, everybody in this room, you need to, what you just heard Yafa Samuel do, that has to be said at every opportunity meeting we ever do for the rest of our lives, right?
It was awesome.
Yeah, and that's, you learn what resonates with them, and you say, okay, I did a home meeting last Monday and I had 8 people there and 5 signed up. And then I did a home meeting on the next day and we had 6 people there and only 1 signed up. What did we say the first night that we didn't say the second night? What didn't we say this first night that we did say the second night? We've just created, I think, an extraordinary flyer for the products in the United States.
Okay.
Which has the 11 products we've got, the 3 that we're going to be launching in January, what they are, what they do, what they cost, how to use them, how many, what times. This is going to be a really powerful marketing piece. So that's at the printer like today.
Great.
We're working on the replicated website. We're working on a mobile app. We're working on the team site things. So all of this will be a process, and it's test, track, modify. Test, track, modify, so that when we, for instance, we're going to have an extraordinary event, January 8 to 10 in Orlando, where that's going to be the pre-launch for the United States.
We all need to be there.
Well, everybody who's in the Americas that are on X Tribe team, we're telling them you got to be there. So whether they're building in Mexico, Chile, Ecuador, wherever, all our team, we want them at that event, because we're going to be unveiling the new system and some of these tools, and so stuff like that you test and track, and then when you have an event like that, we can get up on that stage as leaders and say, here's what we've done that worked, here's what we did that didn't work, here's what we're testing right now that's working. So that's what the true leaders do, is we take the arrows in the back, we make the mistakes, we blow away the wrong prospects by saying the wrong things and doing stupid things and finding out what doesn't work. So then we learn what does work. So then when we bring someone into the business, we can say, hey, we figured out how to do this. And of course, we bring an extraordinary amount of talent and experience from our careers. I've been in this almost 30 years.
Wow.
Feinstein's been in this almost 30 years. A lot of the other guys, 8, 9, 10 years.
Wow.
And then we've got the experience of Luca and Lily and Edison and the people on the sponsorship line. So we're not doing a bunch of crazy things. We have a pretty good idea what is going to work well.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the benefit a new prospect gets when they join the business, is we've gone before and figured those things out, and then we can show them, here's the fastest, simplest, most elegant way to duplicate your business and create exponential growth in your team.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about the concepts of the company. For example, I want you to tell me, True Health, what does that mean to you?
In Fuxion, they would say true health is physical health, financial health, emotional health. Mm-hmm. In my parlance, we might say mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
We're both talking about the same thing. It's that holistic approach. I'm a very health conscious person. I have been for a lot of years because I was a very unhealth conscious person from a lot of years before that.
Okay.
And was very sick and realized, wow, I remember laying in bed sick one day. I've been in bed for like a week, and I thought, if I could just get healthy, if I could just get my body to be able to keep up with my mind, I would be wealthy, I would be rich, I would be happy. And so that set me on the road to health and wellness. And pretty much if you look at my experience, I've always been in wellness companies, and the last program that I worked was a wellness company. What excites me about Fuxion is, and Jaime Loquier, he really crystallized this as we were working on this new product flyer, and he said, you know what the important thing we need to tell people is they don't need to change their habits. There's so many business opportunities, so many companies or so many product lines, they say, you need to change your habit. You have to do this 5 times a week, and you got to change what you do here. And he said, the thing with Fuxion is, you don't have to change any habits. In other words, you're already drinking sodas. You're already drinking coffee. You're already drinking tea. So you're drinking juice. You're drinking sports drinks. So keep drinking that stuff, but drink healthier versions of it. So if you look at this, I mean, it's just, I've got a bottle of water, and I've got the liquid fiber, and I've got the on. And so I'm a guy, I carry around a water bottle with me everywhere. I keep a bottle in every car of mine all the time. I always want to hydrate myself. So now the difference is, instead of just drinking water, I'm drinking really nutrient-rich water. So I'm doing on, or if I want to focus, I'm doing off, or before my softball games, I'm mixing on with Vita Energy. So depending on what it is. So that's the exciting thing about the product is we're not out there trying to change people's lifestyle and make them reinvent their life. We're saying, hey, you're already doing that stuff. Billy Looper was talking about it last night at dinner. He was a Diet Coke addict. I have been to lunch with him where he's drank 5 or 6 diet, because you get those places and they always come and refill your glass. And I've been with lunch with him, and I'm like, dude, you had like 7 of those. You know, you're going to be in a diabetic coma if you have another soft drink. And he just gave them up when he got exposed to the Fuxion products, started mixing them in, and realized, wow. I think he had for like 2 days, he had headaches because of all the sugar and caffeine he used to get from all those sodas he drank. And then he's like, wow, ever since then. So that's what is really exciting from the product marketing side.
Transforming and changing life.
Because most of my team, we've been in the business of trying to re-educate people for a lot of years. You should take this kind of product. You should supplement with that kind of product. You need to change your diet with this. And now we're just saying, hey, great, we all drink juices and sodas and coffees and teas or whatever. Now just drink healthier, nutrient-rich versions of them that are all natural, no preservatives, created from the heart of the Amazon, which is the lungs of the planet, the heartbeat of the planet. There are millions of species of flora and fauna, many of which are nowhere else in the world, right? That are only in the Amazon.
That is exciting.
Yeah, here you have a company that's dedicated to protecting the Amazon, preserving the Amazon, but getting those great nutrients that Mother Nature has for us from there, and putting in away those great little sachets you can carry around anywhere, and
you can
they
share.
work.
You can share it with your friends, with your family, with people. And I love a saying from our founder that he says that he enjoys to get to the secrets of the jungle and discover them through science. That is a powerful thing. What do you think about it?
Let me tell you where the real power is.
Where?
I'm going to try to say this without getting into trouble. Because I don't want to throw shade on anybody else, right? We've moved on, we're in a new thing. But we had this strategy session yesterday, and then we go to lunch. And what has Alvaro done? He's got a Michelin chef who has created the most extraordinary, healthy lunch made with the products. And pastry with the beauty in product used for the frosting, and the juices, and we just thought about what we've done in the past, and what a meeting would be, and what the lunch would be, and what the refreshments would be, and we say, this company is really congruent. Same thing, we went to dinner last night. We went to a 12-course dinner.
Molecular.
Okay, we started at 7 o'clock at night. We ended about 2 in the morning. And it was a molecular menu.
Awesome.
All molecular food.
Awesome. Tell me about it.
Oh, it was all the fish which comes from the Amazon, and this from the highlands, and this nutrient. And the thing you saw with Alvaro is, because we had the most amazing maitre d' in the history of the world. I said, Feinstein, if you don't sponsor that guy, you're in trouble. I mean, this guy, he was, right? I mean, he was just a showman. He was awesome. He's the best asset.
And you need to get him.
Yeah, that he's the best asset that restaurant has. So every time he would bring the meal, he would say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, para abril, because he said it's going to be, 1 month for 12 months for the whole year. Every course was a month. So he'd say, so from April, this is this, and as soon as he would say an ingredient, Alvaro would say, yes, that's from there, and this is, yes, and this ingredient, that's just his passion. He's congruent. The products are congruent. The culture is congruent. That's a really exciting thing.
It is really exciting. It is exciting to hear him talking about ingredients and processes, and the jungle and the secrets and the science and biotechnology. I can really spend a couple hours just hearing and just learning, and it is beautiful.
You just look at everything they put into this for so long to make this work. When people said that was crazy, when they weren't making money and they were investing millions of dollars, but they just had that dream and that dedication. And today we see the results, the fruition of that dedication, that sacrifice, that drive.
It is a dream come true. And
it is a dream come true
for a lot of people.
It's a dream come true that is now making other dreams come true for tens of thousands of people, and in the years ahead is going to make dreams come true for millions of people.
Yeah, that is awesome. And all levels, from distributors, from friends, from employees, this is happening for all of us, and we're really happy. So let's talk about financial health. What about the compensation plan, the evolution compensation plan?
This is one complex plan. There is a lot of moving parts in this. This is 15 different ways to earn. But it's really a brilliant plan, because it's a plan that is designed to, you look for a couple of things. You want to make sure it handles the retail element, that there really is a reason for someone to become a preferred customer. There's a reason for team members to get customers. It rewards them for doing that, so that the plan does that. You look for, does it have the right now money? And that's important. If you saw when Shai was doing his filming, he said, it's so important. People join 1 week and they're getting a bonus check a week later. That's a big deal. That makes a lot of difference to a lot of people. But it's a very lucrative plan. The car bonuses are there, the vacations are there, the travel is there, the powerful residual is there. There's some high-end bonuses at the top that are just crazy money, right? But it's a very lucrative plan, and the proof is in the results. You have helped a lot of people already live extraordinary lifestyles with the Fuxion compensation plan. So
Yes.
it's a very strong plan.
Yes, you've seen transformation all over the place, all over the families. There are a lot of stories and testimonies that we're going to have in this program. We need to have in this program a lot of testimonies so people can know what this is doing to all of our region and our world in general. So what about emotional health? Have you noticed that this is a very happy company?
Anybody who saw that video, when I spoke to those 11,000 people almost at Alumbra, knows these are some really happy people. If you saw when I went to the Soul Cafe last night and got mobbed, these are some really happy people. When I tried to leave the Soul Cafe and get to my car 20 feet away, these are some very happy people. Happy people who like to take a lot of pictures and periscopes. But yeah, there's a culture here. Every organization has a culture. And the Latin culture is so centered on family and relationships. And that culture is already there. And then you put in the culture of self-development, personal growth that we foster in this business. And then you bring this shared mission, which is, hey, let's take this out to the world. And you create some really happy people.
I know. It's a happy company and we enjoy what we do. Let's talk about expansion. Let's talk about bring this to the world. Why do you think this is something good that we need to take from Latin America to the world?
Yeah, first of all, we got to flesh out the rest of Latin America because there's a lot of economies here that really desperately need what Fuxion can do. And we know that everybody, everywhere in the world needs these products. The nutrient value of these formulas is really something, and everybody needs. So we got to take those everywhere in the world. Obviously, I'm very excited about the United States. That's where I had always built until this last time around, and then I kind of got seduced by the dark side of the force, which was, hey, we're in all these countries and we should fly everywhere around the world. And then I went everywhere except the United States and had very little growth there because I was always on 15-hour plane rides to Asia or 10-hour plane rides to Moscow or somewhere else. So I'm really excited about doing this amazing country called the United States of America.
Nice.
That's really exciting for me, and then we want to get Canada open pretty shortly, maybe 2016. So Mexico's already open. That's a big market with a lot of need that I think we're going to already, I was talking to the guys, I mean, they've got a lot of activity already going on in Mexico, so I mean, there's good things happening there. And our team, we've already got people in Colombia, we got people in Chile, we got people in Ecuador. I've got a guy I'm working with right now in Peru. So I mean, we're going to have a lot of people, but we want to get to the rest of the world because the internet has changed everything. It really is a global village now. It really is the ability to build a seamless organization, to create a group that the sun will never set on your business. So you can be going to bed in North America, but know that they're still working in Europe. And then when they're going to bed in Europe, they're waking up in Southeast Asia or Australia or somewhere else. And that's really exciting because I've worked in a lot of those countries. My team, they have worked in a lot of those countries. We're really excited to go back and open those countries and do it the right way with the right logistics and the right planning and the right marketing materials and have the inventory in stock and do it the way that will
that
really
should be done.
Yeah. So that's really exciting. We're pretty fired up about that.
We were talking about, when we were strategizing yesterday, we were talking about the world have changed. And there's some aspect that you were talking about. Can we talk a little bit about it? How that changed the model of our business, our industry?
Yeah, is what I can tell you the X Tribe leaders, which is what we're calling our team, the X Tribe for the fusion, the transformation.
Awesome.
So we call it the X Tribe. So we're building this system, and we say, hey, what has really changed in the world? And if you look at network marketing, you see there's this cataclysmic change that took place when the FTC shut down Vima, which was a very large, successful, ongoing company in the United States. And they were shut down for weeks and weeks and finally got open with a court-appointed supervisor and everything. But the regulatory environment has really changed. And what has changed is you better be able to show that you got more than 50%, 51+% customers who are not in the pay plan, who are not in the structure. They're just retail, preferred customers, direct customers, whatever. You're not going to be able to get away with crazy income claims. You're not going to be able to get away with crazy product claims. You're not going to be able to get away with loading people up with big, expensive initial order kits.
Which is great.
It is great. And so we say, hey, we're just going to build the system that way. What has changed? Social media. When the fact is everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on Twitter, everybody has a YouTube account or a Periscope account or a Meerkat account. So now we say, well, how does that factor into the business? We look at the team, we say, well, we were doing these leadership calls every week, but everybody in all these other countries, they can't get on the calls. So they have to wait and listen to them 2 days later, 3 days later when we're finally able to get a recording on the website. So we said this time around, we're going to use Google Hangouts and we're going to do video. We're going to do it live that anybody anywhere in the world can come in live without paying any of that thing. Another big change is the world lives on smartphones now. There's 5 billion smartphones in the world. In a couple of years, there will be 10 billion smartphones. There will be more smartphones than there are people on the planet. Because there's a lot of people with 2 or 3 smartphones. And so this has changed the way we market, the way we communicate, the way we buy, the way we recruit in network marketing, the way we sell anything. So we're looking at, hey, what is the ultimate mobile app we could create for the team? So when somebody joins the business, we just say, hey, download what we call the accelerator guide, which is kind of the training you need to do in the first 48 hours. We're going to just put that right in, we're trying to build that right in the app.
Perfect.
Same thing with the replicated site. I mean, everything's got to be mobile enabled. Everything's got to be, you can text, SMS it, whatever the case may be. So instead of having to try to change the system and get ahead of these changes in other words, we're just going to build the system that way
just
from the beginning. We've got a white canvas. We could paint anything on it we want. So we looked at, okay, how's the regulatory environment change? How does social media affect that? How does the fact that like smartphones, I mean, anybody 35 and under, they don't read emails. They might check their email once a week, or some of them every 2 weeks, because they live with text, MSS, Snapchat, WhatsApp, whatever.
Yeah.
So we say, hey, we got to communicate with them that way. We've got to make the training that way. We've got to have it in. So all of these things, that's what we kind of been doing here in Lima the last couple of days, is really, and even before that, back in the US, kind of strategizing, okay, what does this system look like and how do we get in front? And I'll tell you the other thing we've changed. The first thing you used to do when you joined a network marketing company is say, okay, we need a bunch of pictures of Lamborghinis and Ferraris and palm trees and,
I have seen that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did for almost 30 years. And we just said, you know what? That environment has changed.
It is different.
It is different. And I can tell you, I'm a multimillionaire. I've done really well. But the day I felt the richest was the day I became debt-free.
That's
no matter how much
true.
money you can make, and Art Jonak sent me something. Chris Sacca, who's a venture capitalist, he's worth about $4 or $5 billion, and That's what he said was, hey, if I'm worth 4 billion, 5 billion, it doesn't matter. It's still the richest day I ever had was the day I paid off all my debts and I was debt free. So that's the message we're going to send when our recruiting. We're going to talk to people and say, let's get your credit cards paid off. Let's get your car paid for.
Yeah.
Give it away to the charity, give it away to your children, and now you're going to get a Fuxion bonus car and Fusion's going to pay for it. Let's get to the point where your whole mortgage is paid off.
True.
And then just get you debt free. And then when you're debt free, we'll talk about how do you grow your wealth and create financial security for your family, your children, your grandchildren. But we're not going to be doing the rah-rah, waving around the $100,000 a month checks. We're going to talk about, hey, let's get you out of debt, and then let's have you start building for your future. And one of the things we're going to base with the philosophy that not only is the truth good enough, but the truth is the best thing.
Yeah.
In other words, you can go to meetings and you're going to see somebody up there on a stage, and they're talking about the lifestyle and the car bonus and whatever they get it for achieving some rank, which they achieved one time 2 years ago for 1 month because they made a run, and then they never qualified again. And they're up there talking about the car bonus, which they don't get, and the travel fund, which they don't get, and the whatever that they don't get. And of course, there's always people sitting in the audience who say, well, I know that they don't qualify. They're in my sponsorship line. You know, why are they talking like that? And we're saying, hey, we're not doing any of that crap with our team. It's going to be all about who's doing it right now. Like, you know me, I'm a gold, what do we call it, executive?
You know, you're gold.
Just
Now
gold?
you
We don't
gold.
call it executive?
No, you're already qualified for executive, senior executive, and gold.
Okay,
bronze
so
and gold.
I'm a gold whatever we call it with this, right? That's it. I've built so much on the left, so much on the right, and that's my rank, a gold. Whatever I did in the past, that's irrelevant. Right now, I'm a gold. Okay, we're just going to do it that way. We're going to build it fresh from scratch, the right way, and we're going to promote it with integrity. That here's what we've done, here's how we do it, and so we're building the whole system that way. That say, hey, since we didn't plan to start all over again, we're not kids, you know. We may look like it because we're taking more beauty in, and probably I look more radiantly beautiful than the last time you saw me, but. We didn't plan to start all over again, but we thought, hey, if we have this opportunity to start all over again, we could build the perfect system, really, with all of the stuff we know about. Instead of trying to change and modify, and we just say, hey, we can just do this from right. So we started with this white canvas, and my team, I give all the credit to my team, because they're the ones. I said, okay, guys, what are the functions we need this mobile app to do? If we had the perfect mobile app, what would the functions be? And they sent in this stuff. And I said, okay, if we have a replicated website for someone to recruit new team members anywhere in the world, what are the functions we need in that replicated website? We put together the list. And I said, okay, we're going to have a team site to train and communicate with the team. What are the functions we need on that team site? And they put together the list. And then that's what I take to the development companies or the webmaster. I say, these are the functions I need. And they say, well, I know how to do it. And I say, listen, I'm not interested in any of that. Don't tell me what your software is or how much it costs or how many hours. Those are personal problems. I don't want to hear your personal problems. Here are the functions that we need. And all we want to hear is how soon can you get these functions online so we can present them to the team.
That's great. Well, you mentioned integrity, and let's go back there. What about values? What about ethics, behaviors? How is that important? How you can ensure that not only your company but your team and you get all these integrity passed well?
It goes back to that, hey, the truth is good enough. We are so jaded in this profession. The truth is, Luca can't talk about the kind of income he makes in Peru, because he told me if I talk to a prospect about how much money I make, their head would explode. because this is a different economy here, and he's making an income that not 0.5% of the world would make. Edison has that kind of income. 0.5% of the world make that income. I can tell you, I lost a diamond director of mine in my last venture. He quit. He took a deal for another company and went on a deal. And the reason he took that deal is because he thought he was a complete failure with me, because he was making $50,000 US a month. And he just thought he was a failure because I was making more than $100,000 a month. My sponsor was making more than $100,000 a month. There was another person making more than 100. And he just thought, I'm just such a bum. And after that happened, I realized that's on me. That's me. I was not a good leader, because how could I? Because he had never made that kind of money in his life. He had actually been in one network marketing company before. He'd been pretty good with it. I think he made $15,000 a month. Maybe he made $20,000 a month. He came with me. I worked with him. He was making $50,000 a month.
Oh my God.
Which is, again, there's not 1% of people in the world who make that kind of income. But we have become so jaded that we talk like $20,000 a month is nothing, or $50,000 a month is nothing. This is ridiculous. This is obscene. When there is so much poverty in the world, so much income inequality in the world, we have to say, hey, let's get away from all of that. We're going to build with integrity. We're going to put people on the platform who are doing it. We don't need to exaggerate anything. We don't need anyone to say anything they're not actually earning, a rank they don't actually qualify for. And when you set that culture at the top of the organization, it goes through the whole organization. And so you look at the Fuxion company, and the corporate end, all the integrity is there. You look at the field leadership here in Lima, the integrity's there. And so if you look at the guys that I'm working with on my team, we have that integrity. And then what happens is when you get people who aren't congruent with that integrity, they self-deport. They realize, oh, I can't get away with that stuff here. You know, they don't let me do that here, and they go somewhere else.
It's not worthy my effort to do it here. I will do it somewhere else. Sure. Well, let's talk briefly about your plan to launch United States. What are the next steps? What are you doing? Let's talk a little bit more about Orlando.
Big thing is going to be Orlando, January 8th to the 10th. We're going to do a leadership. We don't know quite the rank yet. We'll decide it before then, but it'll be like 2 hours for certain rank and above for some leadership strategy Friday afternoon. Then Friday evening, we will be doing the first official Fuxion opportunity showcase in Orlando. And then we'll take a break and we'll come back and do a night owl training after that. So the idea is people who have prospects in the United States, they can send them to the opportunity showcase, take a break. If they like it, they can sign up during the break, and then they can come back after the break and go through the night owl training. We'll do some of the new member orientation stuff and talk about the future. Come back Saturday. We're going to be all day Saturday, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, training. How do you do the business? What is the system? How do you implement it? How do you meet people? What do you say to them? What materials do you give them? How do you get them recruited? How do you get them trained? How do you find more customers? How do you service the customers? All of that.
Awesome.
Be done at 5 o'clock. Then Saturday night, Billy Looper is planning the party extravaganza somewhere in the Magic Kingdom, where people were going to do, we want to do some big shot with the Magic Kingdom when they do the fireworks. And so that'll be the social event, just to kind of bond with the teams and meet the leaders. And I'm pretty sure we have Alvaro Zuniga going to be there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
He can't
Just
miss
checking.
that. He will be there. I was going to ask you, you're going to have a special guest?
Yeah, so we're going to have, Lucas already said he's going to be there. Edison has already said he's going to be there. You're going to be there. I think Michael Smith will be there. So people will get to bond with the corporate leaders. They'll get to bond with the field leaders and with each other. So that'll be what Saturday night is about. And then Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, be back to training, and that will be the action plan.
Okay.
How we go out and conquer the United States and then take that forth into the world, sharing this mission of holistic health and prosperity around the world.
Awesome. And everybody can go to that event?
Yeah, everything we do as a team is always open to everybody in the company. We don't ever segregate that. The website isn't, the registration isn't up yet. Probably by the time you're watching this, then the link will be up, and it would be at xtribeonline.com, and there'll be a link for the, and it's called Accelerate Americas, is the name of the event.
Awesome. Well, we are going to see you there. And so if some of our fusioners that are watching, they have prospects, they just can send them and ask them to go and take a look?
They need to follow through and make sure, if they don't have anybody in the United States, they need to let them know, hey, go to this event and then call me afterward or text me afterward or follow up. Or check who in their sponsorship line might be there. Because like I say, I already think Luca is there. I think Lily's going to be there. I think Edison's going to be there.
And also Eric Gami is going to be there.
Okay, so if you check with your sponsorship line and see if one of those people are there, and then they can kind of connect with yours. You let them know, hey, I have some prospects that are going to be there, and connect with them so they can follow through.
Perfect. Well, I have a set of questions because you have a lot of fans. I'm actually your fan. So we want to know a little bit more about you. So tell me, for example, what is your favorite fusion product and what is your favorite fusion combination?
I think the favorite product would be the Vita Energy.
Okay.
Or it could be the TEMP01, because I got in, finally this last couple years, I got in the best shape of my life, and that's important to me, to stay lean, to work out every day, to stay healthy. So I love the TEMP01, and I didn't even drink the no carb tea until the other day, and that's the best tasting tea I have ever tasted in my life.
It is awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's really good.
The combination would be the On and the Vita Energy.
That's called Viton in Latin America.
Viton, yeah. And we, at that lunch the other day, they put liquid fiber in a homemade lemonade.
Oh yeah,
that was the best
delicious.
lemonade I ever had in my life. I mean, has anybody in the history of the world ever made a fiber product that tasted good before? I don't think so.
I don't
you think of
so.
all those fiber products they sell, they're horrible. Okay?
I know. Yeah, they are.
What they have done with that product, I mean, if I mixed like this one, if I gave anybody a drink of this bottle, they would, and I said, what is in here? There's not 1 in a million people would think there's a fiber product in there.
No,
and there would be no taste other than to say, wow, that's really sweet tasting drink.
It is sweet, but it doesn't have sugar, right?
It has stevia, antifungal, antibacteria, one of the greatest natural resources that Mother Nature has ever made.
Well, what's your favorite food?
Don't tell Alvaro.
No, this is a secret.
It's pizza.
Oh my God. That's why you love TEMP01. I know. What kind of pizza?
Well, I like pepperoni and sausage.
No. It is nice. Well,
but I eat healthy, right? I work out every day, I exercise. So when I'm going to treat myself, if I'm going to treat myself, it's got to be worth it, right?
Absolutely.
So I make it worth it.
Pepperoni pizza. Great. What is your favorite color?
Purple.
Where did you born?
Where or
where?
No, where? Madison, Wisconsin. It's in the Midwest in the United States.
How did you ended up living in Miami?
I hate cold.
Okay.
And Wisconsin in the winter time is like being in Siberia. 50 or 60 below zero wind chill factors in January and February. And all my life I said, when I grow up, I'm going to live somewhere sunny, somewhere warm. So I actually moved out of the house when I was 15. So when I was 16 years old,
wow.
I had an old Plymouth car, and I had $350, and I sold everything that wouldn't fit into my Plymouth. And
oh my God.
I drove the Plymouth down to Miami, Florida. I had no job, I had no apartment, I didn't know anyone there, but I had a dream that I was going to live someplace with palm trees and sunshine, and that's what I did.
Awesome. And then you moved to San Diego?
I'm in San Diego now, and I bought a penthouse in Miami, which I'm just renovating right now. That'll be ready in about 4 months probably, and I'll just go back and forth.
Awesome, nice. Well, what about your favorite book?
Atlas Shrugged would be one, because it's the book that made me think about my philosophy for how to live.
Okay.
It made me realize I needed to live by a congruent philosophy. So that book impacted me, and I probably reread it every year.
Wow.
And then another book would be The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Those would be the two most impactful books for me.
What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote.
Or at least one that you like a lot.
There is no spoon.
Okay, why?
Because it just speaks to, it's from The Matrix. That's when Neo was in the thing, and the kid was bending the spoon, and the kid said, you know, really, there is no spoon. I think that gets you to do a little critical thinking about a lot of things.
Nice, I like it. Well, what about your favorite leader from history? And why?
Well, I'm a very historical person, and I like strategy and critical thinkers, so believe it or not, two very diametrically different people, Moshe Dayan, who was an Israeli general, and Erwin Rommel, who was a German Nazi field marshal. So these, probably they didn't have coffee together.
No,
but
I don't think
they're
so.
two really brilliant people that I studied a lot, read everything about them or about them. I studied them, and I've met a lot of leaders. I've met presidents and senators and secretaries of states and rock stars and a lot of really famous leaders, important leaders, but my favorite leader is my mother.
Oh, I
because
love that.
she raised 3 kids by herself, divorced, literally knocking on doors, selling Avon products, and taught me the value of hard work and dedication, and so that would be my favorite hero.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. And he lives in United States?
She lives in Wisconsin still, yeah. She loves the winter, the cold.
She enjoys it.
I can't get her out of there, yeah.
That's nice. I love that. Well, Randy, let's finalize this interview talking about future. What do you see, who do you see us in 5-10 years? Let's talk about the future. Let's dream a little bit.
I bought the vision when I was down here, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, whenever the Alumbra was. 11,000 screaming, crazy fusioners. First time in my life, I had to have the interpreter had to type what I said into a computer, and then it was printed on the big mag screens. Because there's no translation company anywhere in the country of Peru who has 11,000 headsets. Right? Nobody had them.
I mean, we needed to build a building.
It's true, they had to build a building to hold these 11,000 people, which they built on the water. So I'm down there for that, and that's where I had the chance to really connect with Rafael Zuniga, Alvaro's brother. So Rafael was the investment banker who raised the money for Fusion in some of the early years for the expansion and the factories and stuff. And he started saying, Gage, you know what we're doing? We're going to be $1 billion company by 2020. We have this vision, or sooner. We're getting 75 acres in the heart of the Amazon. We're going to create Fuxion World, and we're going to create this retreat where leaders can come and they can take a boat down the Amazon, and they can do spiritual growth and personal growth and see the indigenous people we hire to harvest this stuff and where the products come from and what we're doing to protect the rainforest. And I was like, wow, I didn't know all of that, even though Alvaro had been my client for a year and a half or something. We hadn't really had that discussion of what's the vision of where. So when I got to that point in my life where I said, hey, I think it's time to open another door, I looked at that and said, yeah, get with Fuxion, partner with them, help them take that around the world and be $1 billion company by 2020 or sooner. I'm all over that.
Well, Randy, thank you very much. We are super happy to have you here. Thank you for your time in this interview. So let's close this with a brief message to all your followers and all your Fuxion friends.
Okay, ahora es el tiempo. El tiempo para Fuxion.
X.
Ahora. X, okay?
X.
Cariños a todos. Paz.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time today. And see you soon. Hasta la próxima.